you're not going to criticize a game if you don't care about it. For example, all of the Fallout fans that are upset about Fallout, they're not upset about it because they don't care about it. They're upset about it because they do care about it.
Hello everyone, I'm Mal, and I'm joined by my friends Vanguard, Mickey, and Sabouts for some more Stellaris Cute Force in version 2.2 with the MegaCorp expansion. Hey fellas. Hey.
Hello.
Hello.
So at the end of the last episode, the thing I wanted to ask, Mickey specifically, but you guys jump in too if, obviously if you got thoughts, but, we're talking about, doing like iteration versus expansions. And did you see the expansion that's coming for Civilization 6?
No, I haven't seen it.
You didn't see it?
No.
Yeah. Okay. So when you get a chance, take a look because I really want your opinion on this. It's going to have a lot to do with like weather, and disasters and things happening based on what you do, and it looks interesting, but it's going all the way back to Civilization 4 and taking some elements from Civilization 4 that I don't know. It wasn't my cup of tea. And Civilization 6 is one of those games that I like and would play on the channel, but I don't love it. Like, it's not as good as Civ 5.
Is it possible that other people have requested that kind of thing? You're saying it has those aspects
maybe.
From 4?
They may have, yeah, they may have. It was just not my... what's weird, though, too, is that I like the previous versions of everything, I think, right now from Firaxis, the big mainstream
Research
games.
actualized.
I prefer, I prefer XCOM and XCOM Long War to XCOM 2.
Yeah.
Even though I will say, with the Tactical Legacy Pack and the other expansions, XCOM 2 has come a long way. It's still not as good as Enemy Within.
Yeah. The biggest telltale sign is videos being made for it on YouTube. Because obviously it's far more profitable for a channel to make videos of games that are much newer, but if those YouTubers are actually going out on a limb and playing older games, then it clearly says something about the newer games.
Right. Yeah. Actually, really nothing that goes on my channel is for use. I'd like to say that I was that tactical about it, but I'm not. I just play the things that I enjoy.
Yeah.
When I started as a YouTuber, I would play, whatever I had access to was part of it, and then if I thought it would get views, of course, that was a big part of it. And then as time went on, I was like, this is stupid. If I'm not having a good time, why would anybody else? But I think a lot of new YouTubers fall into that. What's going to get views versus what do I enjoy?
But it depends on the person though, because some people, some YouTubers are happy. Like some people are happy in a terrible job that earns them lots of money. Some YouTubers will happy be playing games that they don't like if it gets them lots of views. It just depends on the person.
Right. True enough.
Yeah, I'm not one of those.
No, I'm not at all. Even worse, because if I edit the videos, it's one thing to play a game that I don't like, but it's another thing to edit a video for a game that I don't like. Oh god. At least when I'm editing a video for a game that I like, I enjoy what's happening on the screen as slow as it is I'm cutting, but it's terrible if I don't like the game. Oh man.
Well, and I know everybody. I know all four of us. I know there's others that can do it, and I know some guys that can do it, but none of us are good at faking it.
Yeah,
we're just not. If we don't like something, our communities know that.
They sure do. At least mine community, especially mine. They are always giving me flack because I sometimes try to be nice to a company that I don't like, and they always catch it up like that. I say, okay. But the good part about this is that when you really like a company, they always believe in you.
Right. If we really endorse something and we're passionate about it, then I think people know that.
Well, I know I've seen a couple of YouTubers that say, oh, I love this, and it's like, well, then where's the content for it? Are you loving it because you're playing it right there and then, or are you going to carry on playing it?
Yeah, that's a whole different problem.
That's an integrity issue. I think that's more, well, it could be an integrity thing, but I think that's more akin to, imagine a relationship with emotional blackmail. That's what I think that is, where a company's really, really nice to you, so you don't want to say anything bad about them. Well, and it's become way more prevalent in the last couple of years for these quote unquote press only or influencer only events, and none of us are big enough to ever get invited to those things. But of course, just human nature, if you got flown to wherever, XYZ company, and they put you up in a hotel and let you see stuff that's coming out and get your feedback, make you feel important. To say that wouldn't affect you at all is simply a lie, because people are people. I think you just have to
be aware of that, and that, you know, just try to maintain you know, neutrality on something until you've had an opportunity to assess it yourself.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up in the XCOM 2 talk, because I think that did certainly affect the general awareness of the game, the general consensus of the game. YouTubers were positive about it, but aren't playing it anymore.
Yeah, I've been critical about the things that I didn't like about XCOM 2 along the way, and I'm a fan. I like XCOM 2, and I like the things that they've added to it. I just don't think it was as good as the previous game.
Yeah.
And I've been upfront about that. And, you know, I remember when XCOM 2 was coming out, I even called 2K Marketing, spoke to them several times, spoke to a product manager, spoke to a marketing person, and tried to get access. And, you know, it was, you know, go pound sand was essentially the response.
Yeah.
So I wasn't, it didn't matter that, you know, I had tons of XCOM content. It mattered that I didn't have enough subscribers.
Yeah.
And that's okay. That's part of business. I get it. But in hindsight, it was actually a good thing, because they didn't give me access, and that's fine. But I was able to be as blunt as I wanted to be.
Yeah.
So there's the plus side to that.
Yeah. If you were, if everything was paid for, you were flown out there, food, accommodation, you were shown around the offices, talked to the devs. If your face was scanned in and put to the game, you've got to be a really, really heartless bugger to be like, oh my god, this game's crap. You really have to. And most people just aren't. They aren't.
Yeah.
And it's sad that a lot of companies are doing that. But, you know.
That's the nature of the beast, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. That's, I suppose, like you said, Mao, exactly as you said, that in of itself is a benefit of being a smaller channel where you're not subject to that kind of emotional blackmail.
Right. And that's not to say, too, that, you know, you know, since we're talking about this and being completely transparent, all four of us have received, other than I think maybe one small DLC or something, all of us have received Stellaris and Stellaris DLC ahead of time as press, and we haven't paid for any of that.
Yeah.
And the ones that I didn't receive, I bought myself because I think the game is great.
Yep. Same here.
I think you guys did the same, right?
Yeah, I think I did. Yeah.
But having said that, not only have we given our feedback along the way, some of us have even given our feedback in person. Like Sabouts flew to PDXCon last year, wasn't it, Sabouts?
I did.
And you took like a laundry list of issues at the time that we had with the game, like the AI not following you if you were allied into the in-game crisis.
This is actually
all of that
after
stuff.
the Leviathan story pack dropped, and me and you did a series, Mal, and I actually brought up to one of the developers the issue with when you set ships to go to fleets and they just keep flying into Leviathan controlled territories and dying.
Right.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, that's a really good point." That's when they ended up adding the ability to cancel out certain systems so ships wouldn't fly into them.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I've got one closed off right here where there's like some like void something or other vortex. But yeah, that was all based on feedback. That was based on feedback you gave in person. Now other people gave them feedback too, but my point being is that we're not going to hold back on the things that we're critical about, especially about a game that we really care about.
If you're critical about a game, it's for the better. I mean, you're not going to criticize a game if you don't care about it. For example, all of the Fallout fans that are upset about Fallout, they're not upset about it because they don't care about it. They're upset about it because they do care about it.
Right. And I'd like to think that we always offer up suggestions and solutions. We're not coming to the table with nothing.
This is bad. They should have done this.
Yeah, I think that makes it a little bit different, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it sure does, Mo. Sure
I mean, that's what I do when I criticize games. I try, not always, but most of the time, I try to come up with another idea of how it could have been done. I mean, sometimes I do get stumped and like, you know, this isn't working this particular way. I don't know of a way they could have fixed it, but this isn't working. But most of the time, I'm like, yeah, they should have done this instead.
Yeah, people, not people, companies, sometimes they misunderstood
research
us talking about the defects of the game or the faults of the game with us not liking the game or we just wanting to have attention or whatever. That's not true at all. All we want is to have a better product, because before we were YouTubers, I guess, all of us, we are gamers, and we want to see the market thrive. We want to see better games for us to play also. At least that's my opinion, and I think you guys agree with me, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's nice that we are talking this on a Stellaris video, because Paradox did just that. They improved this game so much, but so much that I actually talked to the guys, I don't know, a few months ago. I was not going to do another Stellaris series so soon. And when I got the MegaCorp, this update, it's not MegaCorp at all, the update from MegaCorp, I said, wow, the game improved so much that it deserves a new series. And here we are recording it. And I'm also making one in Portuguese in my channel because I said this game is so awesome now, improved so much that it deserves to be recognized more, to have more attention on it. And the same thing goes backwards for other companies that I'm not going to mention here. I'm canceling a lot of series that I was going to do about other companies because they're just messing it up.
Research actualized.
Why should I promote bad games if I have so many choices about good games to promote? So this is how I see it. I think we need to give attention to companies that are making good games.
You pause the game for a second? Sorry, I got things going really out of control.
Okay, that's fine. You can pause it. I got plenty of stuff to look at here too. Yeah, I understand what you're saying too, Vanguard. Yeah.
Yeah, doesn't it make sense? Because why should we promote bad games?
Well, I really thought, because we're always looking for games that we can play together. We had talked months ago about, like Fallout 76. We're all Fallout fans, and people at the company there, and we certainly could have gotten access. And the reality is,
do you want to be a bit more precise in that? In terms of, we certainly could have gotten access. Would you like to tell?
No,
that's not a good idea, Mickey.
No, I don't think so. But I just think that the current execution of Fallout 76 is, not only is the game fundamentally flawed, but the other issues that have come up related to that, and Bethesda's response or lack thereof regarding issues and concerns from the player base, I have no interest in playing that game now. I hope that they do improve it. I hope that people end up getting their money's worth, but I'm not gonna play the game, and I'm certainly not gonna support it on the channel.
Yeah, since you touched on that, Mal, and I have a very Fallout heavy channel, since this is an English video, I can say this. That game gave me such a sour taste in my mouth that I'm not even feeling compelled to play Fallout 4 anymore. I mean, when I look to Fallout 4, I think of Fallout 76, and I think, wow, is this what we are going to get on Fallout 5? This kind of gameplay?
Skyrim, or the other game, Starfield.
6,
Elder Scrolls, yeah. It's scary. It is scary.
So my decision was, okay, so I'm going to put Fallout in the freezer until they sort it out, and I'm going to do Metro instead, because it's a very similar game considering everything. And I know Metro is great. Metro Last Light promises to be great. It's going to come out in April. And I said, why should I support Bethesda if I can support Metro? It makes no sense to me. And Fallout 4 is going to go to a freezer until they sort out what they are doing with their company, because I'm getting so much flack because of Fallout 76, not on my channel, but on my personal media. People keep posting things about Fallout 76, bad things about Fallout 76, and it's burning my soul because I don't want to hear it. I know the game is bad, everybody knows it, so just forget about it. Give them time to fix it, then you flag it again. But I don't know, it just, I don't feel good reading all those comments about how bad the game is. So I'm just stepping away from Fallout because of that game. Because of one game, it's ruining 2 years of work in my channel.
It's not just one game, though. It was a series of decisions. Like, before Fallout 76, look at the 2 attempts they made at paid mods.
Yeah, even Fallout 4. Yeah. That game is a loading simulator. I have to make a custom script to unlock the FPS on loading screens because I realized that the loading screens are tied to your FPS. So if you have a very powerful computer, you can unlock the FPS, let the game run on 900, 1000 FPS, and the loadings, they got to a manageable time. And wow, Fallout 4 was almost Game of the Year. It lost only to Witcher. How in the hell can sorry for the words, how in the hell can a Game of the Year contender can have a loading screen locked behind FPS? That's unimaginable, and it's the worst flaw of Fallout 4. And I said that in 2015. Bethesda, we are going to forgive you this time because we were desperate for a new Fallout. If you do that again, people are going to.
I know we're completely off topic considering. I know we're completely off topic considering the game we're playing, but I would argue that Skyrim was the last great game they played, because by Fallout, people were beginning to say, "You've got to stop doing this, Bethesda. It was cute before, it's not cute anymore, and we'll put up with it for now, but we're not going to put up with it anymore." And I would argue that Skyrim was the last great game they made, and Fallout was just... people just put up with the problems.
Yeah, I agree with you. I kept up with Fallout because I'm a Fallout fanboy. I have to admit it. Fallout is one of my favorite series. It lost only to Dead Space as my favorite series of all time. So maybe StarCraft too, but it's on the top 3. Let's put it like that. So I'm willing to put up with a lot of things. And actually, my first season on my channel, I canceled because I was not withstanding anymore having to record 15 minutes of episode to have a 30-minute episode. And why was that? Because 20 minutes of those 15 minutes were loading screens that I have to cut out.
Wow.
Yeah. That's how bad loading screens are on Fallout 4. And
you know, I actually have the Fallout 4 Game of the Year edition, and I'm a huge Fallout fan also, and I've never installed it. And I just, because I was just like, I don't know if this is going to be the experience that, you know, because I've heard mixed things, and, you know, Vanguard's given me feedback about it and some of the issues. And then after Fallout 76, you know, now I have zero interest in it.
Yeah.
So I think when these decisions start costing these companies monetarily, maybe that'll give them pause. That, you know, gamers are not stupid. And, you know, I think you're finally starting to see an unwillingness to pre-order. Pre-order sales for a lot of major titles are down. And I think that that's great, honestly. I think everybody should try to fight that instinct of you know, hype and buying.
Pre-orders are just stupid, in my opinion. Sorry for saying that.
I mean, I do get why people do it, though, right? Because you're really excited about a certain property, so sure. But just think,
why not wait? I don't know, maybe 1 week after the game launched. Are you really that desperate that you need to to buy the game before it's available?
It'll be interesting to see what the next generation of gamers will be like, given that this generation of gamers will have kids, and unlike our parents who weren't really gamers, I mean, a little bit, but kind of more to play with their kids, but our parents weren't primarily gamers, so when our kids will be like, I'm pre-ordering this game, we'll have the smarts to say, yeah, don't. There's no benefit to that. See if it's good.
Right.
Don't be disappointed.
Right. Why do you want to do that?
Yeah. We'll have the experience to see these patterns that have happened over how many console generations, series of games that have come out, and to say this, just wait and see what other people say. You don't have the time or money to play everything, and just play what's good.
Yeah. For example, on my Steam account, I have, I don't know, maybe 150 games. There are over 20 games there that are waiting for me to have time to play. So why should I pre-order something? If I have nothing to play, let me grab one of those 20 games. And even if you don't have that, I doubt there are people in the earth that have played every single good game that they think it's good, that they need to buy something before it's released. So it just doesn't make sense in my mind. I cannot agree with pre-orders. I'm from a time where people were giving demos for the game. back in the 90s. That's the right
Interestingly
way to do
enough,
do you remember when game testing was a job?
Oh yeah. Interestingly enough that you mentioned demos, because a game that I am interested in, even though the parent company and even the studio that's doing it have disappointed me time and time again in the last couple of years, I'm interested in Anthem, and I've been following it. And I just read yesterday that they're going to have a free playable demo at the beginning of February of 2019. And I thought, wow, they actually want to assuage people's concerns, and they're going to put out a demo? Now that's a smart decision on EA's part and BioWare. That's a smart decision.
I'm waiting for the bar.
You know, most companies don't do that anymore. Yeah, it was surprising to me.
It's just, wow, it's mind-blowing. EA going back to that origins. And I have to say, it's the right thing to do, especially for them, because they are EA. So they need to have more charisma of the people, because they're burning themselves to the ground because of the policies they're making. They putting a demo on our game, wow, it's the sort of thing that's going to change my mind about EA, because that's how everybody should be doing things. For example, Stellaris. Let's talk about Stellaris, because it's the game we're playing. How about this, Paradox? You give a demo from Stellaris that has everything unlocked, but the guy can only play, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes, for example. Or a base game without any DLCs that you can play for 30 minutes. Just to see if it's what you like. Or you can play for 50 years in the game time or something like that. It's not hard to do. But I don't understand why companies don't do that. It's because of piracy. I don't know. It just don't make any sense to me. Why does it stop being a practice? And it's just sad.
Why? Because they knew they could get something for free. It's like, why release demos when they can call them betas and have people pay for them? It sucks. It sucks. I don't agree with it at all. Like, not in the slightest bit. But that's why. That's why they did it.
Yeah, and most likely you're right.
It's the same reason I'd imagine game testers get paid F all, because they know that they can get away with releasing betas.
Yeah, I think you just hit the point, Mickey. They do this why? Because they can. Yeah. That's all.
That's it.
And it's a very sad thing. That's all I can say.
I'm curious what our communities think about these recent, major mess ups from these different companies and how it's affecting what their purchasing thoughts are going to be. Like, what games are they really looking forward to?
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to Fallout 3. Or excuse me, Wasteland 3. I can tell you that much.
I'm a little bit suspect about Wasteland because it was the first game on my channel, and the second part of the game really threw me off at that game. Do you remember the Shadow Monster, Mal?
Oh yeah. Well, there's a reason why my Supreme Jerk difficulty run. There's a reason why I didn't do the second half. I did, I think, 6 runs. 2 of them complete. And I was like, yeah, I'm not I'm not doing the second part of that. It's like, it was rough. But I loved the game.
What are you talking about in that?
Wasteland 2, when you would go to the second half of the game was just not nearly as good as the first part of the game.
That might explain why I stopped playing at that point.
Yeah,
it wasn't bad. It just wasn't as good. You know what I mean? It was like the first half of that game was like really, really cool, and you go from really, really cool to this is just okay.
Yeah, for me, the correct word is it was not finished. It was rushed.
Yeah, I think the second half was I agree.
Impression I got.
But it looks like they're taking their time on 3.
Oh, please, they do. I don't care if the game takes 10 years to come out. What I care is that it's a great game when it comes out. We can wait. As I said, we have lots of games to play. If it's a great game, we're going to be playing it for years to come. If it's not, we're going to play it for 1 month and put it in a shelf.
Yep, exactly. That's the thing. And that's what most game devs aim for. They want you to play for a month and then move on, so that you're free to buy the next game. Most game devs do not want you playing their game for 5-10 years. They don't want you to. They'd rather you just move on to their next game.
Yeah. The funny thing is that I learned this in engineering. On my first job as a mechanical engineer, I was designing a mechanical part. Let's just put it as simple as I can. And my contractor said to me, hey, just downgrade everything. And I said, why? This piece is perfect. It's going to last years and years on the machine. And he said, and that's going to break us. It's going to make us go out of the market. And I said, and why is that? You're going to have the best piece in the market. And it's for a very good price. And he said, yes, and people are going to buy it from us once. And in 10 years, nobody else is going to be buying because they're still going to have your part working. We need a good part that is cheap, but that works for 1 year tops. After 1 year, it needs to be obsolete, or it needs to break, or it needs to have some kind of maintenance, so we can keep our job open.
Planned obsolescence.
Yeah, planned obsolescence. And I said, wow, are you really telling me that working on engineering is like that? And he said, well, if you want to stay in the market, yes, it is. And I said,
if you want to keep your job, it is.
That's
Exactly.
funny. Actually, we have a term in that too in contracting. If somebody, if you do like, that's obviously not a good thing, but if somebody does like a bad job at something or they break something, then we just call it job security. For like example, I put a backsplash up for a customer, so I tiled a backsplash behind her kitchen. Well, she didn't like the tile that was put up there, which has nothing to do with me. So I told her, I said, I'm gonna have to charge you to take that old tile off and put new tile on. And she was like, oh, I guess, go for it and stuff. So I ended up doing that and then billing her for that. And I made a joke to somebody about it. I was like, it's just job security. Don't help the customer make a decision. Let them make a mistake, and then you go back to fix it.
Well, yeah, right?
Yeah, well, what can I say?
That's how it
Wow.
goes.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. And I said, wow.
Actually,
Okay.
when I was in the Marine Corps too, the aircraft technicians, like the Bell Boeing technicians who were engineers on the aircraft, they would sometimes refuse to give us certain documents or certain blueprints and schematics for the aircraft, and they wouldn't teach us like how certain components would work simply because they were preserving their own jobs. Because if they taught us everything that they had or gave us all the materials, then they would be completely worthless.
Yeah, I heard that before.
Well, yeah, knowledge is power, dude. They're not going to tell you anything. They can keep from it.
I think that's a very sad way of carrying out things.
Oh, it is, but it's it's the reality.
A market opening like that would allow a company to take advantage of it. For example, phones. Phones are designed nowadays to not last more than 2 years, and then if they do, updates are done on the phones to slow them down to make them even more obsolete. So why isn't there a company that's like, you know what, we will fill in that gap, we will sell this phone and guarantee that it works and is supported for 10 years? Why is that not a thing? If there is money to be made.
They wouldn't make money doing it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Businesses nowadays, they make most of their money off of making you
Repeat
have
customers.
to rebuy products. It's like for example, like dishwashers and fridges, stoves, like appliances. And the appliance companies, they used to build appliances that would last like 20 years. Well, what they found out is that when they made them last 20 years, people were buying less appliances less often. So they realized like, oh, well, if we put cheaper materials in these, or if we don't buy the best material to put in these and build them solid, now people are going to have to replace their appliances every 5 to 7 years, and that's more money for us.
Right.
I mean, it's just the way it's just how the market works. If they could build things to last, I mean, they really could, because they've done it before. And I mean, we have the technology to build things. It's like a pump in a well. We've got wells that people put these pumps in, they submerge them in the water, and then these pumps can last for 30, 40 years. But a refrigerator or a dishwasher is going to burn out after 5 to 7. So we know that the technology exists to build better components, and the materials exist. A lot of companies just choose not to put these better materials in there because they'll put themselves out of business. Once everybody owns the greatest thing that you've ever made, and then you've made it so it lasts forever.
In an ideal world, you could say, well, this product's better. It does this quicker or more efficiently, cheaper.
Yeah, but the consumer generally wants a product that's going to do all of that plus some.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, that's not necessarily true, because hospitals do it all the time. That's why hospitals are like giant money shredding machines, because these salespeople will come in there and be like, oh, this is an x-ray machine. And they're like, oh, we already have one. They're like, yeah, but it is 0.5% better. And they're like, oh my God, we got to have it. So they buy like millions of dollars worth of these equipments that only have 0.5% or 1% increases in, how it operates or its efficiency. And hospitals they're notorious for doing stuff like that. But consumers are a little bit different than businesses. Like the way I spend money with my business is a lot more recklessly than I spend money as a consumer. I might go out and buy hundreds of dollars in tools for my business and be like, oh, well, I got to have it to do my job. But then I'll go home and I'll be like, oh, ramen noodle tonight.
Well, you do what you got to do, right?
Yeah.
Okay, folks. Well, we're at the end of this one. We hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that thumbs up. Thanks so much for watching. Till next time, I'm Mal for Sabouts, Vanguard, and Mickey, and we will see you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.